passport and her visa. God worked all that out just miraculously as well and made that go so quickly. We traveled home. It took about 30 hours. Chrissie slept about 20 minutes of those 30 hours. But she never cried. She left the country that she knew with parents that she didn't know, who did not speak her language, and she never cried. She smiled with such excitement the whole entire time. There was a man who sat next to me on one of our longer flights who had also adopted a child from Mexico. He had 6 or 8 kids. And he kept saying, "Is she your adopted daughter?" I was saying, "Yes." And he said, "I've never seen anybody adopted treat their mother like that." She was all over me. She climbed all over me. She was all over my face, all over my body, just like a little monkey, just all over me. And this man did not believe that we had just adopted this little girl, and she was already speaking English on the plane ride home. She'd been with us for 2 weeks and was already learning words of English, and she stole this man's watch. You know, Christyn Joy Patterson. This man gave her his watch. So yes, Chrissie always knew how to get her way. On October 17th, we arrived at the Houston airport, and we told Chrissie, you know, now you're going to be an American, you're a Texan, and she walked off the plane and started waving. She slept 20 minutes, 30 hours of travel. Starts waving to everybody, and she says, "Hi, y'all! Hi, y'all!" Like she was the celebrity entering the Houston airport. We didn't know she knew the words "Hi, y'all" until we got to Houston. So that night she got to meet her forever family and instantly fell in love with all of them. Miss Emily, who's back here, was the first person that held Chrissie. She didn't want to come out of Mommy's arms, but I so desperately wanted a shower. And she went into Emily's arms and acted like Emily was just as good as Mommy, and she was. So Chrissie bonded with our family and acted as if she'd known us from the time that she was born. She never acted like she was an outsider. She never acted like she was adopted. She never acted like anything was wrong with her. She just commanded the place, and she was the boss. Chrissie was very outgoing, and she was very smart, and she learned English so quickly. And one of the things she wanted, as soon as we got home, she'd already learned the names of all the siblings. I'd taken a picture book, and she knew who everybody was. But when we got home, she wanted to know what letter of the alphabet everyone's name started with, so she could learn to write it and tell them P, Parky, S, Sawyer. Actually, she did B, Buckshot, because Sawyer's nickname is Buckshot. But she wanted to know the letter of everyone's name and be able to identify that with who they were and be able to write it. And she was just such a smart, smart, smart girl. And everywhere she went, she always stole the heart of everybody, whether it was Sam's Club or HEB or an event. Everybody. I never went anywhere with Chrissie where I didn't have somebody say, "Oh, your little girl is so beautiful, oh, your little girl is so smart, oh, your little girl is so sweet." And no one ever knew that she was adopted. She happened to look similar to me. And no one really ever knew that she didn't even know English most of that time either. But she just had a way of stealing everybody's heart, even just sitting in a shopping cart, chewing up a hamburger for 2 hours. Somebody would comment about how well behaved she was. We would go to restaurants and they would say, "That is the most polite girl we have ever served in our entire lives." And she would say, "Thank you." She was just such an amazing little girl. Let's see, I took her after she had been home for just 2 days. Matt and I took her to see Dr. Porish and had an exam done and realized that her condition was not exactly what we were told in Serbia, but it was a definite miracle that she was alive. And Dr. Porish explained to us her condition and how most babies die within 2 days of birth after this if they don't have surgery. And so we knew for sure Chrissie was a definite miracle child, and just so blessed to have her alive as long as she was so that we could get to know her. Let's see, Dr. Porish referred us to Dr. Cooperschmidt, who's the cardiac surgeon who actually did her surgery. And then everything kind of started rolling as far as the planning of trying to fix her heart. And Chrissie had a CT angiogram done and had a heart catheterization done that Dr. Porish did, put a stent in, and Dr. Porish said that her vessels were the size of dental floss. So it was quite challenging to try to do anything in there, but Dr. Porish was successful in getting the stent in. And during all this time, no one would ever know that anything was ever wrong with Chrissie. You would have not known that she had a heart problem unless you're in the medical field. You would have been able to see she was a little blue. But she didn't ever act like anything was ever wrong with her, so people who met her never knew anything was wrong. And it didn't ever slow Chrissie down in terms of how much she lived her life. Now, she wanted to be able to run, and she wanted to be able to jump on the trampoline, and she wanted to stick her head under the bathtub with her brother. She couldn't do those things because she would get too tired, but it didn't stop her from trying. On November 8th, 2009, we had her dedicated here in this church, dedicated to our Lord, and she was so excited to be the center of attention that day. After looking back on things, I realized there's not a single holiday or celebration that Chrissie missed out on with our family. We celebrated her real birthday in Serbia when she turned 4. She got to celebrate Halloween with us. Not that we celebrate that, but she got to dress up like a little duck and got to go trick-or-treating. So she got to do Halloween. She got to celebrate Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day, and Easter. She got all of those holidays. And at Christmas, Daddy gave her a horse named Nobby Dog, which she loved and rode all the time. And I would often hear people say, because everybody totally loved Chrissie. Even at the pediatrician's office, they would say, how do you get kids like this? And she was a blessing from God, but it didn't come without risk. And the fact is that most people would not have adopted her. And so we are just so privileged to have said yes and been able to receive the joy that she brought to us during that time. In February of 2010, Chrissie was granted a Make-A-Wish, and we got to go to Disney World, our family. Chrissie was treated like royalty there, and she got to visit with every princess. She got to visit with Barney and Baby Bop and BJ. She got to visit with anybody she wanted to, whether they liked it or not. She was going to make sure that she had her turn. And that was an amazing trip. And that was scheduled just before originally she was supposed to have surgery January 18th, and she needed a cadaver part, a homograft pulmonary artery. It didn't come in for the January 18th surgery. So it was rescheduled for February 22nd. We went to Disney World the week before that February 22nd surgery. And the morning of February 22nd, woke up at the hospital with a fever and ended up not having that surgery that day, but ended up in the hospital with metapneumovirus, which is similar to RSV and text or respiratory and kind of flu-like thing. So she spent some time in the hospital with metapneumovirus, which then postponed her surgery a 3rd time. So it was rescheduled for April 19th. And the night before her surgery, we ended up having a princess party at our house. I had taken our big kids to go see the movie Letters to God. I don't know if any of you saw that. It's a story of a boy who had cancer and changed the world through his letters to God. And in that movie, God was telling me, you need to have her a birthday party, a real birthday party. She had seen Maddie and Sawyer have birthday parties and wanted to know when her birthday party was going to be. And I kept telling her, it's not till October 8th. In fact, she announced to somebody at the hospital that morning that her birthday was October 8th. But on April 18th, we had a birthday party at our house, and we made it a Cinderella ball, and we had tuxedos and did it all up, and she was so excited. And we sang happy birthday to her, and she just beamed. She was just waiting for that moment for her family to sing happy birthday to her, and she said, sing it again. The morning of her surgery, we had the computer, we were looking at pictures to try to occupy time, and she said, I want to hear it again. She wanted to hear us sing happy birthday to her again the morning before of her surgery. Chrissie also said to us, some of her last words to us before she was taken away for her surgery was, I'm so excited, I get my heart fixed. She was so excited to get her heart fixed, and Matt and I both were just not so excited about that because we knew what it meant, but she was so excited to get her heart fixed. And God used her time. She was 31 days in the PICU at the Methodist Children's Hospital. God used that time to touch lives around the entire world. We had no idea that God was going to do this. Chrissie died twice before her actual